Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm going to be doing a bit of a review and kind of teaching you a technique you can do with pigment powders. Specifically, I use Jacquard's pigment powders. They are a bit more on the pricey side. They're not too expensive, but they're more than the cheapo ones you can find on Amazon. But goodness, they work so much better. The quality of these pigments is just amazing. You can purchase them in a lot of different sizes. You can see on the screen there, these are little pots of the pigment powders, and they come in packages of 9, I believe. You can also buy them in packages of 32, or you can buy singular pots, and they're bigger than this, but you can just buy one color if that's what you'd like. So this technique can be used for a bunch of reasons, but the best thing that I like to use it for is when making my resin jewelry. If I want to make something look like it's a metal, whether that's copper, gold, silver, but I want to use resin, you can use this technique and it looks just like a metal. So if you have problems with your earrings that are too heavy, they give you a headache, or necklace or bracelets or something are too heavy, you can use this technique to make them out of resin instead, and they're so much lighter and they look just as brilliant, and I just really like the way that they turn out. So let's get to the video and you can judge for yourself. The first color I'm going to use here is called Duo Violet Brass, and it's interesting because these ones that are duo, two different colors, they kind of reflect one color and then another color if you look at it from a different angle, but if you put black resin behind it, it's going to be one color, and if you put white resin behind it, it's going to be another color. And another way that you can use these is with polymer clay. So it's the same thing. White polymer clay is going to do one color, black polymer clay is going to do the other color. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going to you can take a makeup brush or a paint brush, whichever you have, dip it into the pigment powder and just brush it onto your mold. And you want to make sure you cover all sides of the mold there so you get full coverage, but just brush it on. And we're going to do this with a bunch of colors here, and I'll try and tell you what colors they are as we go. So the next color we're going to use here is Antique Silver. This one is really, really cool. I'm actually going to put it into the ring molds you see there. And these molds are a little bit tricky, so you have to really make sure that you get the brush in there and get some full coverage of the mold. It looks like I had a little piece of silver wire in there from a previous project, so I'm just removing it here, and I think I end up putting it back in after I put the powder into the mold, just because why not? Next, I'm going to be working with one of my favorite pigment powder colors, and that is turquoise. This is the most true to turquoise pigment powder I've found. I know it looks blue, but I'm telling you, when it comes out, it looks just like turquoise. And here I'm going to put it in this earring mold, and I plan on using other colored pigment powders for this one, so I'm just going to put it into a few of the areas of the leaf and get it pretty well coated, and then I will move on to another color to put into those molds. Oh, I'm also gonna just put the turquoise into another earring cavity here. I think I bring out a second mold, yeah, that has the second pair there, just so we can have a whole set of earrings, but I'm gonna use turquoise on these ones as well. Next up is Antique Copper. This is absolutely gorgeous when you look at this pigment. I wish the video did it more justice, but you can kind of see in the mold there that it's just so shimmery and so pretty. It really does look like copper. And next up, I've got Spring Green. It's a pretty green. It's a little muted, but I put it in there with the turquoise powder to kind of have the dual tone in my leaves there. When you're doing two colors like this, you don't want to put them directly on top of each other. Just put them in the spots of the mold that you haven't already covered. So next up is going to be Flamingo Pink. Really pretty pink. I'm just going to use for the top of these earrings here. And next I'm going to do Blue Russet. followed by Solar Gold, which I'm putting in a ring mold here, as well as a pair of earrings. And now we're going to use bright yellow. I end up trying to put a little bit of this in the earring molds over there, but I've already used 2 colors there, so it didn't really show up much. So I put it in this other pair of earrings as well. Next up is Misty Lavender, followed by True Blue. So this is another pack of pigment powders from the same company, and it's packs of 12, not 9. I think I said 9 at the beginning. I just wanted to kind of show you the colors here. There's a micro and a macro pearl in this pack, which is really interesting because they actually look a lot different, and it comes down to the size of the pigments. So there's going to be micro are going to be smaller and macro is going to be bigger, but they end up looking very different. So I'm going to show you the difference here. Here I'm just putting some acrylic paint there. I'm doing a Christmas theme. I'm trying to do some candy cane stripes. So what I'm doing there is I'm putting macro pearl pigment powder into every other stripe. And then I'm putting micro pearl into those 2 molds right there. So you'll see the difference. And then I also there we go, I'm putting macro into that one. And then the one I did right before that, the same shape, is the micro. So you can kind of see the difference there. The macro looks a lot more sparkly. Micro looks more shimmery. All right, here we go. I'm adding black resin into most of the mold pieces here. I think black, they turn out the best when you're doing metals and stuff, but I wanted to try white as well. And I'm also mixing up some red resin just to do the candy cane effect for those striped ones there. So here's the white resin, adding it to those leaf earrings with all the colored pigment powders, the non-metal colors. Just making sure to fill up the molds, and I will see you when we demold. So here we go. We're going to start with the turquoise colors. They turn out really, really pretty. So there's turquoise. And then next we're going to demold gold. This is the Solar Gold. I didn't quite get it into the whole mold on the one on the left there, but you can see how much it really does look like gold. It'll make it easier to see on there. All right, here's the True Blue pigment powder. It really is a true blue. You can't get much bluer than that. And then this is going to be the Blue Russet, I believe. It's a pretty color as well. Next up is our Antique Copper, I think. Yeah, that's definitely Antique Copper. Very, very pretty. And our yellow, our bright yellow here. This one may have done better with a white resin, or I didn't put it in the molds completely, but it kind of came out with a cool effect there. Here's our Misty Purple. Got a little yellow in that mold, but you can still see the color of the purple there. It's really pretty. Next up is the Duo Violet Brass, and you can see I put black behind it, so it actually looks like brass. Had I put white behind it, it would have looked more violet. So these next ones didn't come out very good because I didn't wait for the paint to dry, but this is micro pearl that you see in that one. Okay, so here's the 2 side by side. That's the macro. There's the micro on the right. You can see the difference big time there. The micro is going to look more like a metal. The macro is going to look a little bit more like a roughed up metal. These are just some fun hearts I put together at the end there. Here's the rings. That's the silver. And look at how this gold turns out. I mean, it looks just like a gold ring. It's pretty crazy. And for the fun ones, here are my candy cane stripes. with my macro pearl. I think they turned out really cute. And the antique brass on top. You'll get a close-up here in a second. Really pretty. And the star of the show, these ones turned out amazing, which I was surprised because of the white. But this is the flamingo pink pigment that we used at the top. Really, really pretty. And then there was a lot of marbling that came out of using the white on the back. There's the flowers. You'll get a close-up right now. Look how pretty that turned out. Anyways, I love those. I think this is one of the best products on the market that you can buy for pigment powders. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or check out the blog post that's in the description. There should be a link down there, and that'll take you to a post that goes really in depth about these powders and where you can buy them. Hope you guys have a great day and happy crafting.